Johanse Ayodike joins me on the Zoom line for our Mental Health Matters Thursday. Johanse, good morning. Great to see you again.
Morning, Jason, and morning to all the viewers.
Good morning to you indeed. Very interesting one this morning. The question begs to be answered. How do we make jub? You know, I have no idea where we're going this morning, so I'm going to sit back and let you elaborate. How do we make jub? How to make it?
All right, so jub, when you touch it, it feels a little sore. But when you bite into it, when you touch it, sorry, it feels a little firm. When you bite into it, it's be sore. And these are the type of children I'm encountering these days. Parents are making these children that seem tough on the outside, but very soft in the inside. And soft meaning mentally and emotionally. And one overarching theme that causes this is when parents say, oh, well, I want to give my child everything I didn't have. Now, when you give your child everything you didn't have, without the work that you all put in, the children now become mentally and emotionally weak and not able to be resilient to the responsibilities and some of the hardships of life.
I mean, some people see it as progress, the fact that they're able to give their child a different experience compared to one that they would have had. I mean, if one had to tote water and climb uphill and trod the road barefoot, you'll want your child to have a different experience. And I guess it's how do we balance giving the child the experience, but yet still letting them understand that this did not happen overnight and it didn't just happen by luck and chance. What's the balancing act there?
The balancing is creating responsibilities for the child to earn all those things. So I'm okay with that, you know, because my parents did that for me also. They gave me things that they may not have had. But I would say, especially with my mom and my grandmom, they made me work for it. They made me earn all the things that I got that they didn't have. And what I'm seeing now is parents to help create that balance, because if you just give the child everything they want with minimal effort, then the child views the world like that. And so when they step out, even before 18, in their 14, 15, 16-year-old, when life starts to get a little challenging, you'll realize they may not be able to handle it. The more instances of things like depression, anxiety, and even suicidal ideations, because they don't have the grit or even the critical thinking skills to be able to navigate some of life's challenges.
And for those young people who will have to face the world, so you grew up under the umbrella of comfort, that blanket of security, almost entitled, and you step into the space now where the world could be unforgiving, people could be very harsh. That's the reality of the day. How does the child now navigate that space? Is it one where the parent will have to sit and work with the child to get them climatized to the new environment?
Yes, I would say parents can help, but what I've seen is in some instances, not most, the child becomes resentful to the parents. And I've seen it especially more in boys with their mothers who mother them or beat them a little too much, because they now consciously and unconsciously blame that parent who babied them and then show them the way for their current situation. So a lot of times they turn to drugs, they turn to gambling, they turn to all the vices to try to mitigate those hardships. But of course, they still have to face it. So most times, if they're fortunate, they could come to a professional, they end up getting mentoring in work, or sometimes life is their teacher and they have to just toughen up to be able to survive.
So, you know, we're now coming out of the SCA results week, right? We all would have had to go to school to get our results. Obviously, people complain, they were suggesting that getting the results in the school itself can be traumatic for both parent and child, mostly child. Now, people getting the results in the comfort of their home. Things are so sensitive now, they don't even announce the top SCA student anymore. So the system in itself and so much structure around children is accommodating exactly what you mentioned. You know, you're thinking of their mental health. You don't want them to be traumatized. You want them to be comfortable. You want to have them in a safe space. No more licks in school. So our existence as young people, our hard knocks is different to the hard knocks of the kids now. And I wonder if we have to rethink the way we structure so much of the decisions being made towards children, because everything is being done to give them, basically learn the lessons that, I guess, or the mishaps or the missteps we would have made. You're trying to correct them now. But as you rightfully said, just like the jub, you know, firm on the outside, but when you bite in, soft, and it could, no nutritional value.
Right. I like that addition you add to it. The thing is that, yes, the system, because we can't always protect our children and veer them away from life challenges. What made us who we are is the challenges. What will make anybody into an adult, into a functional adult, are challenges. So I'm not saying that you need to deserve them or put them in detriment, but creating the opportunities so that they can work for it, give them responsibility. And yes, of course, the mental health is a consideration, but at the same time, there's two sides to the coin, because overprotecting, and I'm using it over because too much of anything, not good, overprotecting a child or anybody from the hardship would also be detrimental to their mental health.
Yeah, because, you know, you're seeing young folks in the workplace. It's a different dynamic, you know, words like, you know, I'm being triggered, you know, I need my space, you know, so much. I remember when I started my career at a tender age, when I did a party time back in the day, in my earpiece, you know, where you get your instructions from the producer, if I made a mistake, the producer would be using industrial language, you know, like we're talking here, wharf, construction, hardcore language, and I just smiling, and I getting this in my ears, and I'm in shock, you know, because I'm 17, I'm saying, oh my gosh, how this man talking to me so? Now we fast forward a couple of years, I still have, you know, instructions in my ears, firm instructions, but not soft and sweet. Soft and sweet. There's been a change. It's not as industrial, it's not as hard as back in the day. So things that would have changed, but funny enough, it's because of that particular hard knock. It kind of set me and kind of gave me very early in my career a kind of tough skin, you know, to be quite honest. I don't know if a youngster now could deal with what I would have gone through back in that time.
Most likely not to know. And a few years ago, I would have actually said, you know what, maybe I was treated too harshly. Maybe people of my generation were treated too harshly. But seeing the effects of it now, where many children sometimes can't even take, I would call, minor disappointments. Now, I'm not diminishing, because everybody's situation is different. But some simple things, and even their parents, because over the last month especially, I've had an influx of parents, especially mothers with their sons, that their sons can't handle some little hardships, and they're wondering, you know, did they do the right thing, what's going on with their son, etc., etc. So life is not easy, right? Life, and we always hear you saying life is not fair, and therefore we all have to learn and prepare our children to be able to face it, because we will not always be there in our children's lives. And if we're going from a biblical perspective, they say, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. So that training now, for when we're not there, putting them in place, and not only financially, in terms of mental and emotionally, so they can actually deal with the unexpected things that may occur in life.
Yeah, very interesting development indeed. And then, I guess before we wrap things up, we have to also consider the harshness of this world we're in is not just, yes, within the physical realm where we interact in our office space and we have that dynamic and to negotiate and navigate the political, you know, existence within any workspace, whether it's corporate, whether it's tourism, music, hospitality, you name it. There's also the reality of young people now having to deal with something we never dealt with, the online world, which is a world in itself. And sometimes you get rough up inside there. Could a rough up or hardships in the online world prepare you for rough up and hardships in the physical world?
I would say yes or no. I know that's not a definite answer, but I would say more no than yes, because the rough ups in the real world would actually prepare you better for the rough up in the online world, because one said when I grew up, you used to hear sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. And the online world is more words that you have to deal with. So, and I've seen when children become tougher and don't know how to deal with insults, like call it insults, harsh words, industrial language, well, not for children, but people deal with industrial language in the outside world. They're able to deal with online interactions, even adults, whether it is a bad email they get or email you may take in the wrong tone, the outside world prepares you better for the online world.
Closing argument, Johanse, I know you always give us your closing statement.
Parents, it is okay to give your children everything that you didn't have, but ensure and create a system that they can accurately earn it. Put in the work to earn it, because it will give them a false sense of what the real world is and put them at a disadvantage. Don't make life complicated, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
Johanse Audike, always a pleasure. Mental Health Matters, Mental Health Matters, Thursday, right here on The Morning Brew. We take a break, TNT. We come back with more. Remember, 7:30, Morning Shot with Ian Weeson. In-depth analysis, sports.